What's good, y'all? This is just going to be a trade recap for the trades that we took this morning. I took the same trade on both my alpha futures and my top step accounts today, but I did take one win and one break even. You might be asking me how I got a different result if I took the same trade, and that's because I made a bit of a mistake today. If I'm being brutally honest, I didn't really want to make this video because you know how people perceive you on the internet. You don't really want to go around talking about your mistakes, but I kind of want to show you that it's okay to make mistakes in trading. You're going to make mistakes, especially when you're learning. If you're watching this video, you're probably still learning a lot about trading. You're probably not super profitable. You're not watching many videos once you turn profitable. But my point is, if you're going to learn trading, you're going to make mistakes. And what's important is not the mistakes you make, but it's how you react from your mistakes and how you learn from them. Even as a profitable trader now, I still make small mistakes. My amount of mistakes gets less every single day. You know, I make less and less mistakes as I learn, but you're going to make mistakes and you just want to make sure that you react well when you make mistakes. That's the most important thing. So I'm going to show you today the mistake that we did make. And to be fair, I did still take a dub. Like, a win is still a win, is still a good day, but I hate limiting my potential. That's what really bothers me, is I know I have this good skill, which is day trading, and it's really important that you don't limit yourself. And today I just made a bit of a mistake. So I will show you guys the trades that we took today and then the little mistake that I made. But there was good price action today. Hopefully you were able to catch something. So we'll get straight into it now. The first thing that I was looking at coming into this day, I see on like the 4 hour here, we have these lows were a good target. Once when market was opening, I hate this bar replay because it shows we were way like lower than we were. We were up here somewhere, so we hadn't yet come into this gap as well. So we were really bearish coming into the day. I expected that this gap was going to get taken first and then potentially we would come down to these lows. But my only issue with these lows was they were so far down. Like, if you look even here, we'd have to dump like 300 points from market open to hit these lows. So they're not a bad target, but just it's really ambitious, right? Like I just don't expect us to extend that far down. So I'm gonna go back a little bit just to show you as well on the hourly here. Coming into the day, I wanted to potentially see this gap, and then I also marked out this up here, just because if we did take this out down here, I was pretty confident in this 4 hour gap to the left. If we did take that out and we didn't want to extend all the way down here, I would imagine that this 1 hour gap was the next target. So I came down to the 5 minute here after that, and we will play out a few candles to see. Boom, this was like the first couple 5 minute candles of market open. You'll see that we did come down. We tapped into this 4 hour gap to the left. So that's, like I said, kind of what we expected coming in a day. Like, we're super bearish. We got that gap below and we want to balance out those gaps. So after this candle, I was kind of, putting down my TikTok and looking to actually potentially take a trade off this. But one thing I want you to pay attention to is, even if we have clean price action, you want to be practical about the targets that you look for, right? So this is still 180 points away. I only look for continuation plays, and for a trade like this, when we're so far extended, it just doesn't really make sense to target this, because even though we're going with the trend, I'm not really looking to predict that we're going to continue for almost 200 points. Like, that's almost a unreasonable target. We definitely want to see more confirmation. So even though we're trending down nicely, and this was probably our best higher time frame like liquidity target, I still wanted to see better movement toward it before we took a trade. And it's good that we waited, because even off of this, you might see, boom, we started coming down, retrace, and then started rejecting. If you shorted this, you would have got absolutely cooked, because we ended up just coming up here. So shorts, definitely, I mean, you could have caught something off open, but once we took out this into the gap, we're pretty much done with shorts for the day. And one thing I noticed is we started rejecting really nicely, coming out of this gap, pushing higher. And I see that we have these highs resting here, and then same as like the 15 minute as well, we had these highs to the left. Once we pushed above these highs, I would be pretty confident that we're going to come into this 1 hour gap above that I have marked out. I'll mark it here to show you. This is the 1 hour gap I want. Obviously it shows that we hit it because the chart replay sucks and it's spoiling it. We did end up hitting it, but like, once we traded above these highs, my point is like I would not really expect us to reject. I mean, we have this 5 minute gap to the left, but that's just the most sensible liquidity target on the higher time frame. Like we would have to push once we came back up, we'd have to push almost 300 points again to come down to this. So it just doesn't really make sense for that to be next, in my opinion. I would want to see us like rebalance this gap at least before coming lower. So once we traded above these, I wanted to see longs at least up to this gap. So we did end up getting good displacement higher. After this candle, we traded above these highs on both NQ and the S&P. So I feel like this was a great target. I just wanted to see a retrace and then a displacement candle back up to the upside before taking a trade. And that is exactly what we got. We got a nice 2 candle retrace down and then good displacement back up to the upside. I feel like this was a really good trade. So that's why I took it on both my top step and my alpha accounts. And the target was that fair value gap above, and then we have the stop loss at that leg there. So about a 1-to-1. And in terms of a break even point, if you've seen any of my other videos or just you trade continuation or seen continuation traders, generally like the break even would look something like probably at this line here. But you have to let your discretion step in a little bit sometimes. When we have this, I feel like the issue is, right, it's only 6 points away. So the chances of us, like if we go break even after this candle, there's a very high likelihood that it's going to get tapped, right? Because the markets don't just like shoot up 50 points and then never retrace. Like, especially even though like look at this, we're moving super clean to the upside, and even though that happened, we can still get break even on something like this. So I don't really like to go break even straight away. Even when we have this high to the left, I either want to see us like close above it, or I'm not going to lie, if it sweeps it and then just like closes to the downside below where our break even would be, maybe I would just close my trade after that. But I don't really like to just limit my potential. Like I said, I don't want to just go break even straight after we like hit this, because it's probably going to get tapped. So coming into this, boom, one down leg, and then we closed above it. So I did go break even on my top step after this closed. On the alpha account, I didn't even go break even because I wasn't really like worried about it. I just assumed this was going to hit, and that's my little more risk on account. I want to take more trades on there, make more money, whatever. Like this is for the really good trades, and I'm trading like super strict systems. So on the top step account, I was locked in on this, but we did make a mistake today, like I said before, and I'm going to show you why we got break evened on this. So the problem was I chose to add into this trade. Adding into trades is definitely a really good skill when you trade low R, because you want to bet heavier on the trades that are, gonna win. Because if you're only trading with a 1-to-1 R and your win rate's like 60 or 70%, you might not have a really high expected value. But by adding into those trades that are winners, you can increase your profits a lot without risking a ton when you're entering into the trade. So you want confirmation the trade's gonna hit, and then you can add more positions into the trade to, increase your like overtime expected value of your system, right? So for this trade, I added into it after this candle because this pretty much gave me confirmation that we're for sure going to this gap in my mind. I was really confident. So I added, and the problem was when you add into a position, right, you have your original entry. So let's say you're in buys, you have your original entry, and then you're going to have your new entry, which is higher up. So it averages out your entries to the middle of where your position should be. So in this case, my new entry was like somewhere up here. Like I said, my original entry was based on this. So my new entry was like there. And then I was still having the same TP, but the problem was I should have left my break even based on my original trade, not break even based on my ad. So I added into the position and then I based my break even on that. So the problem was now my break even was here, which means we have the same problem that I was looking at before. We only have like 7 points away before we're going to get stopped out at break even, versus if I left my break even at where my original position should be, because this would be break even of the entire move, then obviously I would have lost some money had it hit. But like I said, I had so much conviction, and the problem was, boom, that ended up tapping us out for break even. It wouldn't have hit the original break even, right? But then we ended up running to TP here. So on this one, I ended up getting break evened and not being able to make that like extra $1,000. But like I said, on the alpha account, we did make money, but it was just one mini, so like $500. And I'm gonna put the executions in the thumbnail this time, and then I'll probably show them on the screen somewhere just to show you that I executed on that. But like I said, bro, limiting your potential is so frustrating sometimes because like losses happen. Losses are a part of the game. They will happen, but with these break evens, like this was just a mistake today. I really should have left my break even here instead of putting it break even based on my ad. It should be break even based on the entire move because this is just too close. Like maybe I should have let my discretion step in a little bit more today, but I don't know. Like I just made the mistake, and like I said, it's more important how you learn from it. You want to actually like make note of your mistake and implement that next time. And additionally, one thing I wanted to say was, bro, look at this price action after we hit the target. Literally so choppy. And the old me would have probably crashed out after this. Getting break even on a trade we were going to make like $1,000 is frustrating. So the old me would have crashed out, probably tried to take another trade. And look at this chop. Like, I definitely would not have been taking a winning trade for the next, like, this is like an hour worth of price action. And this is ass, bro. So that's the most important thing from today is, please, if you make a mistake, it's okay. You just need to accept your mistake and move on. Do not try and revenge trade. Just move on. Know that tomorrow's another day and you can try and catch something then. Especially, bro, after you make a mistake like this, you're probably gonna feel that like instant like just anger, like a little bit of rage. Like I wasn't mad, but I was definitely upset right away. So the best thing to do is just walk away and move on. Like I said, I just wanted to make this to show you guys that even as a profitable trader, you will make mistakes. Mistakes do happen. It's just part of the game. Just remember, approach them well. If you did make it to the end of the video, I appreciate you watching. I hope that you were able to learn something from this. And if you didn't take a dub today, hopefully you're able to take a dub on a trade like this next time we have clean price action. That's really the point of this channel, is to help you guys out and hopefully change at least one person's life, hopefully a lot more than that, but to change one person's life and introduce them into a skill that could give them that financial freedom and help them, find what they're looking for. I felt kind of lost before I found trading. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and finding this allowed me to, have something to look forward to, give me more hope for my future. So I'm really glad that I found this, and I hope to bring that to somebody else. So again, thank you if you made it to the end, and I hope to see you in the next video.